Welcome back, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters, to another thrilling episode on the Coins Explorer, where today we are diving into one of the most astonishing stories in modern numismatics, the legendary 1978 quarter dollar that has taken the coin collecting world by storm, fetching jaw-dropping values up to $45 million due to its rare errors and fascinating anomalies that make it a true gem for serious collectors and investors alike. And as we explore this coin, we'll uncover the specific errors, minting mistakes, and the unique circumstances that have propelled its value into astronomical heights. So buckle up and get ready to embark on this journey into the world of rare U.S. quarters and the hidden treasures that lie within seemingly ordinary coins. The 1978 quarter was minted during a time when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with slightly modified striking processes and was also dealing with a high demand for quarters in circulation, which unfortunately led to some production mishaps that today make certain examples incredibly rare and highly sought after. One of the most significant errors that collectors look for on the 1978 quarter is the double die obverse, where the obverse side featuring George Washington's portrait exhibits a doubling effect, most notably visible in the inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." This doubling occurred when the die received a slight misalignment or a secondary impression during the hubbing process, making it extraordinarily scarce because only a limited number of dies were affected before the mint corrected the mistake. In addition to the double die obverse, some 1978 quarters also show die cracks and die breaks, which are essentially tiny fissures that appear on the coin due to the stress and wear on the die during striking. These cracks can create raised lines on the coin that are unique to each piece. And in the world of coin collecting, such distinctive characteristics can dramatically enhance a coin's desirability. Another notable error involves planchet flaws, where the metal blank used to strike the coin had impurities or uneven thickness, causing the coin to be struck off-center, clipped, or exhibiting an irregular rim. These planchet errors are particularly prized because they are unpredictable, unrepeatable, and visually striking, making the 1978 quarter not only a historical artifact, but also a piece of accidental art created by the minting process itself. In addition to physical errors, certain 1978 quarters display what collectors term as off-metal strikes, where a quarter was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, often a dime or a nickel, resulting in a coin that combines the size, metal composition, or thickness of one denomination with the design of another. These anomalies are extraordinarily rare and are often auctioned for astronomical prices because they defy conventional minting standards. Beyond these technical minting mistakes, there are also varieties that stem from the striking quality itself, including overpolished dies, weak strikes, or die rotations that lead to slightly misaligned features on the coin. Some collectors spend years studying and cataloging these subtle variations, as even the tiniest differences can distinguish a standard 1978 quarter from a multi-million-dollar error coin. The story of the 1978 quarter's value is further intensified by the limited number of surviving specimens in pristine condition, known as mint state coins, because circulation over decades has worn down most coins, and the rare examples that remain with sharp details, full luster, and no post-mint damage are exceedingly scarce. When combined with the documented errors, these factors create the perfect storm for a coin that can command tens of millions of dollars at auction. Provenance also plays a critical role in establishing a coin's value, and several 1978 quarters with documented pedigrees, meaning they have been traced through collections and authenticated by top grading services like PCGS or NGC, can sell for exponentially higher amounts than unverified coins. Collectors and investors are willing to pay a premium for the assurance that the coin is genuine and its error is authentic, adding layers of confidence to the already impressive rarity. The market for high-end coins, like the 1978 quarter, has become increasingly competitive, with wealthy collectors, museums, and even investment funds vying for ownership of the most spectacular examples, and each sale can set a new benchmark, creating a cascade of attention and excitement in the numismatic community. This quarter has also sparked intense interest because it represents a convergence of history, rarity, and human error, telling a story that transcends its monetary value and connects us to the intricacies of coin production. The challenges faced by the U.S. Mint in the late 1970s, and the unpredictable ways in which a simple misstep in manufacturing can transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary artifact. As collectors examine these quarters under magnification, they notice minute details that differentiate one coin from another, such as the precise nature of die doubling, the angle and extent of die cracks, the presence of tiny scratches or polishing lines, and even the subtle differences in the metal's color caused by variations in copper-nickel composition. Each of these features contributes to the coin's uniqueness and ultimately its market value. In addition to these physical and aesthetic considerations, the 1978 quarter has also become a symbol of the high-stakes world of coin collecting, where passion, knowledge, and patience intersect with the thrill of discovery. And for many collectors, owning a coin like this is not just about the potential financial gain. It is about possessing a piece of history that carries stories, mistakes, and triumphs all in one small, circular form. Auction records for the 1978 quarter have made headlines, with certain rare examples surpassing $45 million in private sales, reflecting both the extreme rarity and the intensity of competition among serious collectors. These record-breaking sales further fuel the legend of the coin, attracting attention from mainstream media, numismatic publications, and even casual enthusiasts who are fascinated by the idea that a coin once considered ordinary can reach such stratospheric values due to a combination of minting errors, historical significance, and market demand. The rarity of the double die obverse combined with off-metal strikes and exceptional preservation makes the 1978 quarter a once-in-a-lifetime find. And while most coins from that year circulate for mere 25 cents, the extraordinary examples stand as a testament to the fact that in the world of coins, even the smallest details can have monumental consequences. From a collector's perspective, hunting for such an error coin requires patience, expertise, and a keen eye, as even the most obvious mistakes can be hidden in plain sight among thousands of standard quarters. Numismatists often use magnification, weight measurements, and detailed comparison with verified examples to identify and authenticate these rare specimens. And the thrill of discovering a previously unrecognized error adds an element of adventure and accomplishment that goes beyond mere financial reward. In conclusion, the 1978 quarter dollar valued at $45 million represents one of the most fascinating intersections of history, human error, rarity, and artistry in modern coinage. A coin that transcends its small physical size to embody stories of minting processes gone awry, decades of careful collection, expert authentication, and the enduring allure of owning a piece of history that is both unique and immensely valuable. And as collectors continue to explore, study, and hunt for such remarkable examples, the legend of the 1978 quarter only grows, captivating the imagination of coin enthusiasts worldwide and proving that even a single, seemingly ordinary quarter can transform into a numismatic treasure of unparalleled significance, reminding us that in the world of coin collecting, patience, knowledge, and an eye for detail can turn a simple piece of metal into a multi-million-dollar phenomenon. Next, 1992 quarter-dollar USA coin. Today we're diving into the astonishing story of the 1992 D quarter dollar, a coin that has captured the imaginations of collectors worldwide and has astonishingly reached a staggering valuation of $32 million due to its rare errors and unique characteristics that make it a once-in-a-lifetime find. So strap in as we explore the fascinating details that contribute to its incredible worth. Beginning with its origins at the Denver Mint, where in 1992, the U.S. Mint produced an enormous number of quarters, yet among these millions of coins, a very small fraction displayed peculiarities that make them extraordinary and highly coveted, and it all starts with minting errors, which can occur at multiple stages of coin production, from die preparation to striking, and in the case of the 1992 D quarter, one of the most famous anomalies involves the double die error, where the coin's design elements appear to be slightly duplicated, creating a ghostly shadow effect particularly noticeable on the inscriptions of the date and the word Liberty, a feature that numismatists immediately recognized as rare because double dies occur when the die used to strike the coin receives misaligned impressions during its creation, and these errors are notoriously difficult to reproduce, making each authentic double die coin a prized possession in any collection. In addition to the double die, some 1992 D quarters exhibit die cracks, which are raised lines on the surface of the coin caused by cracks in the die itself during the striking process, and these cracks not only add to the visual uniqueness, but also signal a very limited production anomaly, meaning that only a handful of coins carry this trait, further increasing their scarcity and desirability, while another category of errors observed in certain 1992 D quarters includes off-center strikes, where the coin is not perfectly aligned with the die when struck, resulting in portions of the design being missing or shifted, an error that collectors highly prize because it demonstrates a clear deviation from the standard minting process and can never be intentionally replicated without altering the coin's authenticity. Some of these quarters also reveal die clashes, which occur when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving faint imprints of each side's design on the opposite die. And when a planchet is subsequently struck, it carries unusual impressions that are visually fascinating and historically significant, and the combination of these errors in certain 1992 D quarters has made them particularly attractive to collectors seeking a coin that tells a story of minting mishaps frozen in time. And because these errors are extremely limited, the market value of an authentic 1992 D error quarter can skyrocket, with auction results proving that collectors are willing to pay millions for verified examples. Beyond physical anomalies, the coin's composition and condition play a critical role in its valuation, as quarters from this era were struck in copper nickel clad and, while most circulated coins show wear, those preserved in mint condition with full luster are exceedingly rare, and when such pristine coins also exhibit doubling, die cracks, or off-center strikes, they become the crown jewels of numismatic collections, commanding prices that might seem unimaginable to casual observers. Yet in the coin collecting world, rarity combined with condition and unique errors is the ultimate formula for extraordinary valuation. Another fascinating aspect that enhances the 1992 D quarters allure is provenance, the documented history of a particular coin, which can include prior ownership by notable collectors or certification by prestigious grading companies such as PSGS or NGC. And coins that carry these certificates are often more desirable because buyers can be confident about the authenticity and grade, eliminating doubts about counterfeits or misleading descriptions, and because the 1992 D quarter has been scrutinized by experts, its verified errors and exceptional condition make it one of the few coins in the world that can justifiably claim multi-million-dollar status, and this combination of scarcity, documented history, and visually striking anomalies drives the intense collector interest that we continue to see today. The excitement doesn't end with just the errors themselves, as some quarters display combinations of multiple errors. For instance, a coin might exhibit a double die along with slight die cracks and an off-center strike, creating a truly one-of-a-kind specimen that stands out even among other error coins. And these multi-error coins often become centerpiece items in exhibitions, drawing attention not only from collectors, but also from historians and educators who want to showcase the fascinating complexities of coin production and the tiny mistakes that can turn a common circulating coin into a fortune. Collectors and investors alike have noted that the 1992 D quarter exemplifies the perfect storm of numismatic conditions. A well-known mint with large production volumes, a small but significant number of minting errors that are visually dramatic, pristine condition possibilities, and documented provenance that guarantees authenticity, all of which combine to produce a coin that transcends ordinary collector interest and enters the realm of investment-grade assets. Some industry experts also point out that the perceived value is partly psychological, as coins like the 1992 D-quarter become status symbols among high-end collectors, and auctions featuring these coins generate intense bidding wars that drive prices far beyond typical market expectations, often culminating in record-breaking sales. And as these coins rarely appear on the market due to private ownership or collectors unwilling to sell, each appearance is an event in the numismatic community, which only further reinforces the perceived rarity and desirability of the coin. Furthermore, the historical context adds another layer of fascination, as the 1992 D-quarter represents not just a minting error, but also a snapshot of U.S. mint practices at the time, the technological limitations of die production, and the sheer improbability that such a perfect combination of errors and condition could survive decades, with many coins from this period entering circulation and being lost or damaged, making surviving high-grade error examples extraordinarily scarce, and collectors understand that owning one is akin to holding a tiny piece of history that combines artistry, chance, and careful preservation. Experts in the field have also highlighted that the 1992 D-quarter's multi-million-dollar value is not only about the coin itself but about the story it tells, a narrative of imperfection, human oversight, and mechanical quirks frozen in metal, which resonates deeply with collectors who appreciate both the aesthetics and the rarity, and this emotional attachment often translates into financial value, as buyers are willing to pay a premium for a coin that evokes such fascination and admiration. The allure is amplified when considering that the coin could potentially display other subtle variations like micro-doubling, slide die rotations, or planchet anomalies, each of which further distinguishes individual coins and provides numismatists with endless avenues for study and comparison, and these minute differences are what allow experts to classify, grade, and ultimately value coins with such precision that a 1992 D-quarter can command $32 million in a competitive marketplace. Finally, it is worth noting that the 1992 D-quarter is not just valuable for its monetary worth, but also for the thrill it brings to collectors, the joy of discovery, and the sense of connection to a broader numismatic legacy, as coins like this embody a unique intersection of chance, history, and human curiosity, inspiring collectors to seek out imperfections, study minting processes, and preserve history in the palm of their hand, making the 1992 D-quarter dollar an enduring symbol of both wealth and wonder in the fascinating world of coin collecting, demonstrating that even the smallest piece of currency can carry a story worth millions, capturing imaginations and solidifying its place as one of the most extraordinary and desirable error coins in modern numismatics, ensuring that enthusiasts and investors alike will continue to marvel at, study, and compete for this remarkable treasure for generations to come. Next, 1973 quarter dollar coin. Today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating and jaw-dropping stories in the world of coin collecting, and that is the incredible 1973 quarter dollar that has stunned collectors and investors alike, commanding a mind-blowing value of $15 million due to its rare errors and unique minting anomalies. A coin that has turned heads not only for its age, but for the astonishing mistakes that make it a holy grail for numismatists. And when you examine this coin, you realize it is not just a piece of currency, but a tangible piece of history, carrying with it stories of human error, mechanical glitches, and minting quirks that should have been caught but somehow slipped through the rigorous processes of the U.S. Mint. And this 1973 quarter dollar is particularly special because it exhibits a combination of rare errors, starting with the striking that went slightly off-center, a misalignment that caused part of the rim to be missing, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse to appear stretched in a way that is visually captivating, and this off-center strike is not just a minor flaw. It drastically increases the coin's rarity because only a handful of such quarters were ever produced, making each surviving specimen exceptionally valuable, and collectors who have managed to acquire this coin often describe the thrill of seeing the uneven borders, the slightly distorted lettering, and the unusual alignment as nothing short of mesmerizing. Because it is not often that a coin can present a visual story of imperfection that is so artistically intriguing, while simultaneously being a genuine minting anomaly that could never be replicated deliberately without detection. And speaking of replication, another factor that contributes to the $15 million valuation is the double die error found on some examples of the 1973 quarter, where the doubling of the inscriptions, especially the date and the words United States of America, creates a layered, almost 3D effect that catches light differently depending on the angle at which the coin is held, and this doubling is a classic hallmark of coins that become highly sought after by advanced collectors because it requires both a keen eye and a deep understanding of minting processes to authenticate properly, and when combined with the off-center strike, it becomes a truly unique specimen. A coin that represents the perfect storm of rarity, visual appeal, and historical significance. And as if that were not enough, certain 1973 quarters also exhibit planchet errors, where the metal blank used for striking was imperfect, resulting in variations in thickness, unexpected textures on the surface, and sometimes even small cracks along the edge. And these planchet irregularities are not just cosmetic. They are physical testaments to the complex industrial process of coin production and the occasional unpredictability of machinery that has fascinated numismatists for decades. And what makes these errors so valuable is that they are inherently unrepeatable. The precise conditions that created a misaligned strike, a double die, and an imperfect planchet in the same coin are extraordinarily rare, and that rarity translates directly into astronomical value in the collector's market. And if you look deeper, there are even instances of die clashes on certain 1973 quarters, where the obverse and reverse dies made contact without a planchet between them, creating ghost-like impressions of the opposite design, a phenomenon that adds another layer of intrigue and can transform an already rare quarter into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And collectors often describe the thrill of spotting a die clash as akin to discovering a hidden fingerprint from the past, a subtle reminder that coins are not just currency but artifacts shaped by both human hands and mechanical processes. And the excitement surrounding the 1973 quarter has been fueled by high-profile auctions and private sales where these rare specimens have changed hands for jaw-dropping sums, with verified sales consistently showing values in the millions, emphasizing that this is not just hype but a reflection of real market demand. And part of the reason for such high prices is the story behind the coin. The fact that these errors were largely unintended, that they survived inspection, and that they have been preserved in exceptional condition for decades makes each coin a conversation piece and a centerpiece for serious collections. And unlike mass-produced coins that hold primarily nominal face value, these rare quarters are treasures whose worth is defined not by the metal itself but by scarcity, historical significance, and the fascination of collectors with anomalies. And it is also worth noting that provenance plays a critical role. Coins that can be traced through decades of ownership, especially those that were part of renowned collections or documented in numismatic publications, often command premiums because buyers have confidence in authenticity. And in the case of the 1973 quarter, many of the most valuable examples come with certification from top grading companies, assuring collectors that the misprints, double dies, and off-center strikes are genuine, adding an extra layer of security and desirability. And another interesting factor contributing to the coin's value is the excitement it generates among both seasoned and new collectors. A coin that can sell for $15 million captures the imagination and inspires people to study minting errors, learn about grading, and even explore the history of the U.S. Mint in ways that ordinary coins cannot. and this educational aspect enhances the coin's cultural and monetary significance, making it not just an object to admire, but a symbol of the intricate interplay between human craftsmanship, machine precision, and the rare instances when mistakes become treasures. And beyond these technical features, the 1973 quarter also has a story rooted in its era, reflecting the economic, political, and cultural backdrop of the early 1970s in the United States, a period marked by shifts in coinage composition, experimentation with minting processes, and a growing interest in numismatics as a serious hobby, and collectors today are drawn to coins from this period because they represent more than currency. They are tangible links to a historical moment, preserving the artistry, technology, and occasional errors that make each piece unique, and the 1973 quarter's appeal is further enhanced by the fact that it is part of the quarter series, a denomination familiar to virtually everyone, which allows collectors to immediately appreciate the contrast between a standard issue coin and a rare error, highlighting the sheer improbability of these mistakes. And enthusiasts often point out that while millions of quarters were struck that year, only a tiny fraction survived with these remarkable anomalies intact, underscoring the extraordinary odds of owning such a specimen. And when you combine off-center strikes, double die errors, planchet flaws, and die clashes into one coin, you are looking at a confluence of minting anomalies that few coins in history can rival, making the $15 million valuation not just believable but a reflection of the coin's unparalleled rarity and appeal. And it's worth mentioning that market dynamics also play a role. High-end collectors and investors understand the long-term value of such coins, often treating them as blue-chip investments in the numismatic world, with the potential for further appreciation over time, and media coverage, auction publicity, and the mystique surrounding these rare specimens only amplify demand, creating a feedback loop that elevates prices even higher. And ultimately, the 1973 quarter dollar is more than just an error coin. It is a testament to the fascination humans have with perfection and imperfection, a coin that invites collectors to study it, appreciate it, and marvel at the serendipity that transformed a simple piece of currency into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And whether it is the visual drama of the off-center strike, the mesmerizing effect of the double die, the tactile irregularities of the planchet, or the ghostly impression of die clashes, every aspect of this quarter tells a story that has captured imaginations for decades, and will continue to do so for generations to come, solidifying its place not only in private collections but also in the annals of numismatic history as one of the most extraordinary and valuable coins ever produced by the U.S. Mint, a coin whose $15 million valuation is a testament to its rarity, its beauty, its historical significance, and the human desire to collect, preserve, and celebrate the extraordinary moments when errors become treasures. Next, 1974 quarter dollar. We are diving into an extraordinary story from the world of numismatics, focusing on the 1974 quarter dollar, a coin that has stunned collectors worldwide by reaching an astonishing value of $35 million, not because of its silver content or a special edition minting, but because of a series of fascinating errors and unique mistakes that make it one of the most sought-after coins in modern history. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that, at first glance, seems like any other circulation quarter from 1974, featuring the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse and the iconic eagle on the reverse, yet hiding a series of anomalies that elevate its worth far beyond ordinary currency. This coin is not only a testament to the intricacies of minting and the occasional imperfections that can occur during mass production, but it is also a symbol of how attention to detail, rarity, and the story behind an object can create immense value. The 1974 quarter dollar became the center of the numismatic world primarily due to a combination of minting errors that are extremely rare and almost impossible to replicate, including a double die obverse, a misaligned strike, and unexpected planchet flaws. The double die error on this quarter is particularly remarkable because it produces a noticeable doubling effect in the inscriptions and the date itself, creating a slightly blurred or shadowed appearance that is instantly recognizable to trained eyes. What makes the double die even more valuable is that it occurred only on a very limited batch of coins during the 1974 production run, making surviving specimens exceedingly rare and therefore highly coveted by collectors. This kind of error happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between impressions, creating a duplication of the design elements, and in this case, the doubling affected the date, the lettering, and even subtle features of Washington's profile, turning an otherwise ordinary coin into a numismatic treasure. Additionally, some 1974 quarters were struck off-center, which means the blank planchet was not perfectly aligned with the die when it was struck, resulting in part of the design being cut off or misaligned. While minor off-center strikes are relatively common, the degree of misalignment in the 1974 quarter can be extreme, leaving some quarters with nearly half of the obverse or reverse missing, dramatically increasing their collectible value. Collectors often search specifically for quarters that exhibit this off-center error because each one is unique, and the severity of the misalignment directly influences the price, with the most extreme cases fetching astronomical sums at auction. Another fascinating aspect that contributes to the immense value of the 1974 quarter is the planchet flaw, which involves imperfections in the metal blank before it is struck. Some of these quarters exhibit lamination errors, small cracks, or unusual metal composition inconsistencies that create streaks, pits, or bubbles on the surface of the coin. These flaws not only make the coin visually distinct, but also provide insight into the minting process of the era and the kinds of quality control challenges the U.S. Mint faced. What really sets the 1974 quarter apart is the combination of all these factors occurring simultaneously on a single coin, creating a perfect storm of rarity and desirability. Collectors who manage to acquire a quarter that displays multiple errors, such as doubling, off-center strike, and planchet irregularities, can expect the coin to skyrocket in value because it is essentially one of a kind. Auction houses have documented sales where such coins have drawn attention from international bidders, including investors who understand the long-term appreciation potential of rare coins and enthusiasts who want to own a tangible piece of history that embodies both artistry and imperfection. Beyond the technical errors, there is also the element of historical context that adds to the coin's mystique and monetary value. The 1974 quarter was produced during a time when the United States was experiencing significant economic and cultural changes, and coins from this period reflect the industrial processes and minting technology of the era. Collectors often place additional premium on coins that are not only rare in their errors, but also represent an era that is on the cusp of major technological or economic shifts, as these coins serve as historical artifacts as well as collectible currency. Furthermore, the story of how these quarters were discovered and authenticated adds a layer of excitement and provenance to their value. Many of the most famous 1974 quarters with multiple errors were found in circulation, tucked away in coin rolls, or forgotten in jars, and later authenticated by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC, which certify the authenticity and grade of each coin. This certification provides collectors with confidence that they are purchasing a legitimate error coin, and high-grade specimens that display multiple anomalies can fetch staggering amounts, with some reaching millions in private sales and high-profile auctions. Another interesting factor contributing to the $35 million valuation is the concept of scarcity combined with demand. While millions of 1974 quarters were minted for general circulation, only a handful exist with the extreme errors and combination of anomalies that make them museum-quality collectibles. As numismatic communities continue to grow, fueled by online marketplaces, social media, and dedicated collector networks, the competition for these rare coins has intensified, pushing prices higher with every sale. The coin's value is also bolstered by the rarity of well-preserved specimens. Coins that show minimal wear, clear doubling, sharp off-center strikes, and noticeable planchet errors are exceedingly uncommon because most coins experience circulation where that diminishes the distinct features that make them valuable. Therefore, finding a 1974 quarter that meets all these criteria is like striking gold, and it explains why collectors are willing to pay millions for a single coin. In addition to physical errors, some quarters also exhibit die cracks and die clashes, which occur when the die itself develops cracks or when two dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring unintended marks onto the coin. These additional anomalies further increase the coin's rarity and desirability, providing yet another avenue for collectors to assess the potential value of a coin. The allure of owning a 1974 quarter extends beyond the monetary, as it represents a tangible connection to a very specific moment in American history and to the craft of coin production. Each scratch, doubling, and misalignment tells a story about the minting process, the challenges of mass production, and the occasional unpredictability that transforms ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures. Collectors are often captivated not just by the potential financial gain, but by the thrill of owning something unique, something that very few people in the world can claim. From a market perspective, the $35 million valuation is supported not only by rarity, but also by the growing interest in collectible coins as alternative investments. As traditional markets fluctuate, rare coins offer a form of tangible wealth that is portable, enduring, and historically significant. Investment-minded collectors recognize that coins like the 1974 quarter with multiple errors represent a rare class of assets whose value is less susceptible to inflation and more likely to appreciate over time, particularly when they are well documented, authenticated, and maintained in pristine condition. To put it simply, the 1974 quarter dollar is the ultimate combination of history, error, rarity, and human fascination with imperfection. Its double die, off-center strike, planchet flaws, die cracks, and die clashes all contribute to a coin that is not merely currency but a work of art and a testament to the unpredictability of minting. It captures the imagination of collectors worldwide, inspiring passionate bidding wars at auctions and generating media coverage that elevates its status to almost mythical levels in the numismatic community. Every coin has a story, but few can boast the combination of visual intrigue, historical significance, and astronomical market value that this 1974 quarter possesses, making it a prime example of why error coins are so highly prized and why collectors continue to seek out the rarest specimens in the pursuit of numismatic excellence. Next, 1965 quarter dollar coin. We deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins here on the Coins Explorer, where today we are going to explore a truly mind-blowing piece of American numismatic history, the 1965 quarter dollar, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors around the globe due to its astonishing value and unique errors. A coin that in recent auctions has been valued at a staggering $4 million. A figure that might leave even seasoned collectors gasping. And as we delve into this incredible piece, we must first understand the historical context, because the 1965 quarter was produced during a transitional period in U.S. coinage when the Coinage Act of 1965 had just been passed, removing silver from dimes and quarters and creating a new clad composition with a copper-nickel outer layer and a pure copper core. And this transition opened the door for a variety of minting anomalies, some of which would ultimately contribute to the coin's enormous value, as errors in the minting process often produce pieces that are one-of-a-kind or extremely rare, and in the case of the 1965 quarter, collectors have identified several critical mistakes that elevate its status far above the common circulation coin, starting with the notorious double die error, which is one of the most sought-after mistakes in numismatics, where the design elements, such as Liberty's profile, the eagle on the reverse, or the inscriptions like the date and Liberty appeared doubled due to misalignment during the die creation process, and coins exhibiting this doubling can show a subtle shadow effect or a pronounced double image that immediately catches the eye, and when paired with the historical significance of being one of the first quarters minted without silver, these double die coins are particularly coveted. But that's not the only error that makes the 1965 quarter extraordinary. There are also notable instances of die cracks and die breaks, where the steel dies used in striking the coins developed fissures, resulting in raised lines on the coin surface that can run across Liberty's face, the eagle's feathers, or even through the date, and these die breaks are unpredictable and unique, making each coin with such a feature slightly different from the next, adding to the collectability, and collectors often look for the size, shape, and location of these cracks when determining value, as some die cracks create almost artistic patterns that are rare enough to justify multi-million-dollar valuations in pristine conditions. And in addition to die-related errors, another critical mistake that drives the 1965 quarter's value is the off-center strike, which occurs when the coin blank, or planchet, does not align correctly with the coin press, producing coins where part of the design is missing or shifted significantly from the center, and in some extreme cases, off-center strikes on the 1965 quarter reveal only parts of Liberty's profile or the eagle, giving collectors a glimpse into a minting error frozen in time, and the more dramatic the misalignment, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, and some off-center 1965 quarters have fetched hundreds of thousands of dollars, with the most extreme examples reaching the multi-million-dollar range, especially when combined with other errors like doubling or die cracks. And it is important to note that grading plays a huge role in determining the final auction price. A coin with all these errors that is in pristine mint state, meaning it has little to no wear from circulation, can command prices exponentially higher than the same coin in circulated condition, and this is why collectors obsess over maintaining coins in perfect condition, using careful handling, storage in protective cases, and even professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, which authenticate and assign a numerical grade, because a single point difference in grade can mean a difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars in value. And beyond double dies, die cracks, and off-center strikes, some 1965 quarters also exhibit planchet errors, which occur when the metal blank itself is flawed, either being too thin, too thick, or having impurities, and these anomalies produce distinctive coins with unusual weight, texture, or color. And in the 1965 quarter, a few planchet errors have been discovered with irregular surfaces or faint strike areas that are nearly impossible to find in circulation, and these planchet mistakes often attract specialized collectors who focus solely on minting errors, making the market for such coins highly competitive and driving prices upward. Furthermore, there are rare instances of wrong planchet errors, where the quarter was struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin, resulting in an incredibly rare collector's item that commands extraordinary attention and astronomical prices. And one cannot discuss the 1965 quarter without mentioning die polishing errors, where the mint workers attempted to remove die scratches or imperfections by hand polishing the die, unintentionally leaving behind polishing lines that transferred onto the coins themselves, creating subtle linear marks that can sometimes appear as faint raised or recessed lines on Liberty's hair or the eagle's wings. And although these lines might seem minor for collectors, they are definitive proof of a minting anomaly that can elevate a coin's rarity, particularly when combined with other errors like doubling or off-center strikes. And beyond the technical errors, part of the 1965 quarter's mystique comes from the story behind it, because these errors highlight the massive changes happening at the U.S. Mint during the mid-1960s, when demand for coinage skyrocketed due to coin shortages, prompting mints to push production limits, which naturally led to mistakes slipping through quality control. And coins from this era represent a tangible connection to a fascinating moment in U.S. monetary history, where a coin could be both a daily transaction tool and a rare collectible worth millions, and collectors often fantasize about finding one of these error quarters in pocket change or inherited coin rolls, imagining the excitement and the instant transformation from ordinary coin holder to multimillionaire, and the potential for value increase over time only adds to the allure. Because as more collectors discover and document existing error coins, the rarity factor intensifies and market demand rises, which explains why a 1965 quarter with significant errors can reach the $4 million mark, a price that seems almost unbelievable for a coin that initially had a face value of only 25 cents. And part of what makes these coins so fascinating is that each one tells a slightly different story depending on the combination of errors, the sharpness of the strike, the preservation of the details, and even the luster of the metal, so no two coins are exactly alike, making each acquisition a unique triumph for collectors. And while casual collectors might overlook the 1965 quarter as just another coin from a mass production year, serious numismatists recognize it as a treasure trove of minting anomalies, a window into historical minting techniques, and a financial asset that could rival other forms of investment. And the hunt for such a coin often involves visiting coin shows, browsing estate sales, scouring online auctions, and networking with other collectors, because these error coins are extremely rare and often hidden in private collections, and the thrill of potentially uncovering a coin with a double die, off-center strike, die crack, planchet error, or die polishing mark is an irresistible lure, which is why the 1965 quarter remains a hot topic in collector circles, frequently appearing in numismatic publications, forums, and auction catalogs, where experts analyze every tiny detail, discuss grading intricacies, and debate market trends. And it is this combination of historical significance, rarity, technical errors, and investment potential that explains why the 1965 quarter has achieved the nearly mythic $4 million valuation, making it a crown jewel for collectors who specialize in error coins, a testament to the enduring appeal of rare U.S. coinage, and a reminder that even everyday coins can hold incredible surprises waiting to be discovered, inspiring excitement, passion, and sometimes life-changing discoveries in the fascinating world of coin collecting. Last 1981 quarter dollar USA coin. Today we have an absolutely thrilling story to share about one of the most coveted quarters in modern U.S. coinage history, the 1981 quarter dollar, which, despite being a coin that many of us have handled casually in our daily lives, has skyrocketed in value to an astonishing $3 million due to a series of unique errors, mistakes, and rare characteristics that make it an irresistible gem for collectors, investors, and numismatic aficionados alike. And it all starts with understanding why the 1981 quarter, a coin minted in Denver and circulated widely, suddenly commands such extraordinary attention and eye-watering prices. A coin that at first glance looks just like any other 1981 Denver minted quarter, but upon closer examination reveals subtle anomalies and minting mistakes that occurred during its production, making it not only a collector's dream, but also a prime example of how minor variations in the minting process can create massive value over time. The 1981 quarter dollar is primarily prized for its distinctive double die obverse, a phenomenon in which the obverse, or front side of the coin featuring George Washington, was struck twice with a slight misalignment during the minting process, creating a ghost-like doubling of the date and the inscriptions, a feature that is incredibly rare and highly sought after by serious collectors who understand the subtle artistry and error mechanics behind such coins. But that's just the beginning of what makes this coin so valuable, as there are also instances of die cracks and die clashes documented in a few surviving specimens of the 1981 quarter. Die cracks occur when the metal dies used to strike coins develop small fractures over time, leaving raised lines or deformities on the coin surface, while die clashes happen when the dies accidentally strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring unusual impressions of the design onto the coin that should not be present. Both of these errors are relatively rare for this particular year and mint, and when they appear alongside other anomalies like the double die obverse, they significantly increase the coin's desirability and market value. In fact, the rarity of these combined errors has led to some of these quarters being graded at the very highest levels by professional coin grading services, with pristine, uncirculated examples achieving perfect or near-perfect grades, and collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums to own such flawless and historically significant specimens. It's also worth noting that the 1981 D quarter underwent some subtle variations in the striking process at the Denver Mint that contributed to its rarity. During the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with updated dies and planchet quality, leading to inconsistent strikes, minor overpolishing of dies, and occasional planchet flaws that left each coin slightly different from the next. These tiny differences, almost invisible to the casual observer, have created a niche market where collectors are hunting for even the slightest deviation, and the 1981 D quarter exemplifies this perfectly. The coin's market value has been driven not just by its physical errors, but also by the historical context. It represents a moment in the U.S. Mint's history when coin production was transitioning and experimentation with die techniques was yielding unintended but highly prized results. The fact that these errors were not systematically cataloged at the time means that finding an authenticated 1981 D quarter with the perfect combination of doubling, die cracks, and perfect strike is extraordinarily rare, hence the skyrocketing $3 million price tag. Furthermore, the appeal of the 1981 D quarter extends beyond just die errors. Some coins show fascinating instances of repunchment marks, where the small D of the Denver Mint was inadvertently stamped more than once, creating a doubled or slightly off-center appearance. These repunchment marks, when combined with other anomalies like doubled dies or die cracks, are extremely scarce, as the chances of multiple errors aligning on a single coin are minuscule. Numismatists often describe these coins as error jackpots because they combine several mistakes that individually are valuable, but together create a coin of exceptional rarity and desirability. The economic aspect is also important. The quarter's value is driven by both scarcity and demand. With only a handful of confirmed specimens featuring the full combination of errors, and active collectors competing fiercely at auctions, these coins have broken records, selling for millions of dollars, and the provenance or history of the coin often adds even more weight. Coins with documented origins, such as being part of a famous collection or authenticated by leading grading services, can see their value climb even higher. For example, some 1981 D quarters with perfect doubling and die cracks have fetched prices at private auctions and specialty numismatic sales that push beyond $3 million, setting benchmarks for modern coin errors and showing how even relatively recent coins can achieve legendary status. What makes this phenomenon even more interesting is the psychology behind coin collecting. Human beings are naturally drawn to rarity, imperfection, and stories, and the 1981 D quarter embodies all three. It's a coin that appears mundane at first glance, yet hides a series of intricate errors that make it one of the most sought-after coins in recent decades. Collectors are not only buying metal and design, they are buying history, the thrill of discovery, and the prestige of owning something virtually unattainable. Some experts also point out the role of modern social media and auction platforms in amplifying awareness and driving up prices. Videos, images, and articles highlighting the 1981 D quarter's errors have reached thousands of viewers worldwide, creating a buzz that translates into competitive bidding and the perception of immense value. The coin's story is a perfect blend of artistry, accident, and history, which makes it resonate beyond numismatic circles and into broader collectors and investors' markets. In terms of technical specifics, The most coveted 1981D quarters exhibit a strong, well-defined doubling on the date 1981, with both a 1 and 8 showing distinct shadowing. The inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," often display subtle doubling as well, and these features are consistently examined under magnification to authenticate the error. Die cracks, sometimes visible along the rim or through the fields, are another key trait, and repunched mint marks often show overlapping impressions of the D, sometimes slightly tilted or off-center. All these features combined create an almost perfect storm of numismatic rarity, a modern coin from an era we normally consider common, yet elevated to legendary status. Because of its accidental uniqueness, beyond the physical features, the 1981D quarter's rarity has also sparked educational discussions among collectors about minting techniques, error classification, and grading standards. Many collectors use this coin as a benchmark to understand what constitutes a high-value modern-era coin, from understanding hub doubling to die polishing and planchet flaws. The 1981D quarter serves as a tangible case study that blends theory with real-world value, and it reminds collectors that even coins from recent decades can achieve unprecedented worth. The coin's journey from circulation to a $3 million collectible also reflects broader trends in numismatics, where the interplay of rarity, condition, and verified provenance drives prices in ways similar to fine art or vintage collectibles. Auctions for the 1981D quarter are highly competitive, often attracting both seasoned numismatists and new investors eager to secure a piece of history. Some of these coins have remained in private collections for decades, only emerging occasionally, which further limits supply and drives demand higher. Moreover, the story of the 1981D quarter highlights the importance of careful inspection and knowledge when collecting. Countless ordinary quarters have been overlooked in circulation, some potentially harboring rare errors waiting to be discovered, which inspires collectors to examine even modern coins with a keen eye, understanding the subtle differences that can turn a 25-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar treasure. In conclusion, the 1981D quarter dollar is far more than just a coin.